Hey everybody, it's finally Friday. Billy Bob here. It's finally Friday. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. Little George Jones. Hey, I was actually going to do a little ditty about all the songs that have Friday in the title. And we'll do that in the future. But today I thought there were some more important things. And that is what's going on in the Natty, or Cincinnati as it were. And there's a big weekend. Now, Mrs. Billy Bob, she tells me, Billy Bob, there's always something going on in Cincinnati. I go, I don't know about that. But then she throws I grew up around here. I live around here. We got kids around here. So don't try and tell me any different. That's probably a good suggestion. Anything you want to say? She's not very talkative tonight. She was talkative last night, right? And actually, some of the listeners, some of the watchers, they commented on that. They liked that. They want to see her. But I told them she loves to be mysterious. And I got a big, beautiful Billy Bob Bud Light just right. Won't have that next weekend. Why, you ask? Well, the bottle is blue. There ain't gonna be no blue next Saturday, okay? We're gonna have a Scarlet Bud Heavy. Anyway, where were we? It's Friday. Big weekend, Cincinnati. Let's talk about it. There's a bunch of stuff, and it starts tonight, and it starts in about an hour and a half. Starting with the University of Cincinnati playing the University of Louisville at Heritage Arena or Heritage Center, one or the other. Heritage. It's right downtown. It's right next door to the Great American Ballpark. Both teams are 4-0, and that's what's going on there. And while that's going on and getting ready to wind up, maybe actually a little more than halfway through, actually, at Paycor Stadium, just down the walkway, down a piece, maybe a half mile, between quarter and a half mile, I would guess, along the banks of the Ohio River, at Paycor Stadium, is a big-time matchup. It's high school football, regional semifinals, Cincinnati Elder versus Cincinnati St. X or St. Xavier. Now, this game was originally going to be played at Mason High School Stadium, which holds about 6,000 people. They sold it out right away, and there was such a high demand that they moved it to Paycor. So right now, well, not right now, as of this morning, they had sold about 17,300 tickets. They had about 8,000 left, and they're going to play in the rain, okay? Because it's raining now. It's supposed to be raining, so it's going to be sloppy. But these two teams, this is the second time they met this year. Elder is undefeated. St. X is 9-2. I believe that's 9-2. One of their two losses was to Elder. They lost 23-13 earlier in the year. Their other loss, let me stop. Elder has had some big wins, St. X being one of them. Another is Archbishop Moeller, who they played for the Greater Catholic League South Division title and beat them. So I didn't even know who this guy was, I gotta admit. At the Grace Hospital. What's the hospital in Atlanta? Grady. The Grady Center. Sorry. The Grady Music Center or Event Center in downtown Cincinnati. They've got a guy, Trey Anastasio. Say, what? Trey Anastasio. Now, some of you probably know him, but you're in a different era. So he's a guitar player. He's 61 years old. He's a guitar player. He's a composer, he's a songwriter, and as I dug into it deeper, he is most famously the lead guitarist for the band Fish, starting with PH, ISH, Fish. That's what's going on tonight. Then tomorrow, starting at about 10 o'clock in the morning, Fox's big noon kickoff is in Cincinnati at Nippert Stadium because the University of Cincinnati football team is playing BYU, better known as Brigham Young University. Now, let's see here. BYU is 9-1. The Bearcats are 7-3. Now, they play at 8 o'clock. I don't know really if the Bearcats have a chance to still make it in the Big 12 championship, but certainly BYU does. And then that's it for Saturday. Then we come to Sunday. And then the Bengals. Everybody was anticipating Joe Burrow may be able to play. It appears like he probably won't. They won't know for sure until Saturday at 4 o'clock because that's the last point in time that the Bengals can activate Joe Burrow. He is currently on the 21-day IR, injured reserve list. They put him on the list on November 10th. They have any time in between and up till either November 30th or December 1st to get him off the list. If they don't take him off the list by then he's done for a year. They can't activate him. So that game is at 1 o'clock. It's the Bengals and the New England Patriots at Paycor. So quick turnaround. I don't know how much they're going to paint the field for the Elder St. X game. But they play the Pats. And so I talk about it's the not so ordinary Joes. I mean, the famous Joe Burrow. And some people would say the not so famous Joe Flacco, who, by the way, won a Super Bowl and has done actually filled in very well for the Bengals. Their defense has not played great until last week, so we won't get too deep into it. But Joe Flacco is still suffering from an AC joint. I don't know if it's a sprain or just a bruise. AC joint is the joint between the collarbone and the shoulder blade, and it is his throwing shoulder. Now, Joe Burrow, what he's been recovering from an injury is turf toe, which is when your big toe gets like twisted underneath. You fall when you're going down, your big toe goes underneath, and so it's either a sprain or a tear. It tears a ligament, it stretches a ligament. Now, he had to have surgery, so I don't know whether it was a bad strain and they had to tighten it up or a tear and they had to fix that up. But Mrs. Billy Bob told me something very interesting earlier today about the big toe. Would you like to tell me that? Would you? Come on, tell me. She's like, she won't even talk to me. So, see, this is what a Sonder dark brown beer will do for you. Yesterday, she had the Sonder dark brown beer. Today, she's had water and coffee, so she's not so talkative. But I'm going to try and remember. So the big toe is like the toe in your foot. It is the most powerful toe, and that is when you're pushing off with your foot, the big toe, all the pressure, am I correct? All the pressure, just shake your head, yes, is on the big toe. The other four toes are basically for balance, all right? So much more than you were interested in, and I'm going much longer than I probably should, getting into the weeds, but I wanted you to understand what the consequences, what's going on between the not so ordinary Joes. So there's two other things. Lastly, at 5 o'clock tomorrow or Sunday, right after the Bengals game, FC Cincinnati, this is soccer, the MLS, Major Soccer League. FC Cincinnati plays Inter Miami. Why is Inter Miami famous other than they're pretty good this year? They have, depending on tomato, Lionel Messi, who I believe leads the league in both goals and assists this year. But they're playing to get to move on, and that's at 5 o'clock at TQL Stadium. I believe it's TQL. What else? Is there anything I should tell you about that game? I don't know much, other than I could tell you the co-CEO of FC Cincinnati said he encouraged all the people from the Bengals game to just go on over to TQL and attend the soccer game. That'll be just like any other soccer game in Europe, because the people from the Bengals game will be drunk, and while they're waiting and walking or driving to TQL, they'll be drunker. And let's hope it doesn't look like the crap show that some of the European soccer games look like. One last really interesting point. Kyle Schwarber. Some of you know Kyle Schwarber if you're baseball fans. He's been around a while, power hitter, left-handed. There's a rumor that potentially he could come to the Cincinnati Reds. Why is that a rumor? Because he's from Middletown, Ohio. Who is from Middletown, Ohio? Famous from Middletown, Ohio? Well, there's one guy who just got a statue at the Schottenstein Center in Columbus, Ohio. A national championship basketball player at Ohio State, Jerry Lucas. And then there's these two brothers. One played football, one played basketball. And they are the Carter brothers. Butch Carter played for Indiana, went on to the pros. Chris Carter played for Ohio State and went on to the pros. Chris in football. That's a wrap this Friday night. It's finally Friday. Get ready for a wild weekend. America, land of the free because of the brave. Stay focused, America. Billy Bob, peace out.